We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Chesam and Beis Meseches Menachos. This is Menachos Daf 58b. On the previous Amud, the Gemara brought a brisa which said that the pasuk says Sa'or, leaven or chametz is not allowed to be burned on the Mizbeach, and we only know, the brisa says we would only know a full measure of Sa'or cannot be burned on the Mizbeach. How do we even know a partial measure, a half measure? And it says Kol Sa'or, the brisa says we learn from the word Kol that this applies even to a half measure. And on the previous Amud, the Gemara asked what exactly is a full measure of Sa'or and what is a half measure of Sa'or. And the Gemara brought a machlokas amoraim on that issue. Abaya says the full measure is a kazayas and the half a measure is going to be a half a zayas. Rava says the full measure is a kometz and then the half measure is a half a kometz. And the Gemara now is in the middle of explaining Abaya. Abaya holds in general that it's possible to have a kometz that is less than 2 zesim, and therefore v'yesh haktara pchusa mikazayas, it's possible to burn a kometz on the mizbeach that's less than a kazayas. Rashi explains v'yesh haktara pchusa mikazayas. It's possible to have haktara less than a kazayas, means to say v'hachinami amrinon ba'hakometz rabba. This is also stated in hakometz rabba that hikter komtza pa'amayim kashera. One can take the kometz, the fistful, let's say by a karva mincha that he's burning on the mizbeach, and he can burn it in stages. He can burn it 2 times, and so therefore, if the initial kometz is less than 2 zesim and you split that in half, that means that each burning is going to be less than a kazayas. Hilkach afilu pachos mikazayas chayiv. Therefore, since in general the burning of the kometz can be done at the level of less than a kazayas, therefore that's what we're saying in this brisa as well. When it comes to Sa'or, it's going to apply even to a half a zayas. And the Gemara continues, V'Rava Amar Rava says that's not true. Ein kometz pachos mishnei zesim. There's no such thing as a kometz that's less than 2 zesim. It's going to be at least 2 zesim. And so therefore, ve'ein haktara pechusa mikazayis. You're never going to have a burning that's less than a kazayis. And so therefore, the burning of the sword has to at least be a kazayis. So if we're saying that partial is also included in the violation, that partial has to be more than a kazayis. So it must be that it's partial in the sense that it's a half a kometz. Rashi explains, V'Rava Sava Rava holds ein kometz pachos mishnei zesim. There's no fistful less than 2 zesim. Hilkach lo nafka lon mehasam de tahave haktara bepachos mikazayis. Therefore, you're never going to have haktara less than a kazayis. Ulu Rava ki kol lemeimar. And then again, according to Rava, ki kol is saying afal gavdelo minkar, even though it's not recognizable sharei irvu that it was mixed. That the Gemara quoted on the previous Amud from the words ki kol. And the Gemara continues, Itmar was stated the following, Machlokas Amoroim, Hamala mi Sa'or mi Devash al Gabi HaMizbeach. If somebody offers up on the Mizbeach from Sa'or, from leaven, and from Devash, from honey on the Mizbeach, so Amar Rava says, Loka misham Sa'or, there's going to be Malkus because of offering Sa'or on the Mizbeach. V'Loka misham Devash, there's also going to be Malkus for offering Devash on the Mizbeach. And Loka mishum Eruve Sa'or umishum Eruve Devash, there's also going to be Malkus for the mixture of Sa'or and the mixture of Devash, again, as we said in the Bryce on the previous Amud, that mixture is also included in the prohibition. Abaya Amar Abaya says, Ein loken alav shebechlolos. There is no malchus on a generalized lav, and this is considered to be a generalized lav. Lav shebechlolos can mean slightly different things in different contexts, but in any case over here, it means a generalized lav, and therefore there is no malchus. Now, in terms of what Abaya says, Iko diamri, there are those who say chada mi halaki, that Abaya doesn't mean to say there's no malchus. You are going to get one set of malchus at least. V'iko diamri, but others say no. Chada nami lo laki, there's not even one set of malchus according to Abaya. The halo miyachid lavi, because the lav is not clearly, specifically designated kelav de chasima. It's not like the lav of chasima. The lav of chasima is the negative commandment in terms of muzzling an animal, and that is the prototype. It has to be like the lav de chasima in order to get malchus. It says lo sachsom shor bedisho. We learn from there everything has to be like the lav of lo sachsom in order to get malchus, and in this case it doesn't follow that prototype. And Rashi explains misa or umi devash. Again, we're talking about being offering Sa'or and Devash, She'ir Vanyachad, that are mixed together, Loka Arba Malkias. So according to Rava, there's 4 sets of Malkas, Sa'or, Devash, Eruve Sa'or, and Eruve Devash. And then Abaye says it's a Lav Shebechlolos, it's a generalized Lav. Kol Sa'or, the Mishtami Mine Sa'or Ve'eruvin, it says Kol Sa'or. So you learn Sa'or, you learn the mixture of Sa'or, V'chein Kol Devash, and also it says Kol Devash, the Mishtami Mine Devash Ve'eruvin, so that's honey and its mixture. And so that's generalized, it applies to all these different variations. Aval Ilav kol mishum sa'ur udvash shekasav lach ba'azar achas lo mikri lav shebechlos. Now Rashi notes, if not for the kol, so then the fact that sa'ur and devash are there, that still wouldn't be called lav shebechlolos. The lav a kol chad kamader, because the negative command would go on each one. That wouldn't make it a lav shebechlolos. It's the kol that makes it a lav shebechlolos. V'achi mishtama b'Meseches nazar gavi mikol asher yasam yigefen hayayin. Rashi says this is clear from the Gemara in Meseches nazar pertaining to the pasuk of kol asher yasa migefen hayayin. Ika diamri tarti lo lucky. Now there are those who say tarti lo lucky, that you don't get two sets of malchus, mishum kol seor, afagav the seor ve'eruvin mitzdarfin, even though seor and its mixtures combine, minov hamaktir eruve seor, ika seor ve'eruvin. If a person is burning the mixture of seor, you have seor and the mixture, lo lucky elachada. So some people say that, but it just means you're only going to get one malchus, you're not going to get for both seor and the mixture of seor. V'chein chada mishum eruve devash, and also there will be one for eruve devash. Rashi understands that when we say chada mihalaki, we mean one for each. One for seor and one for devash. That's how some understand Abaya. Ve'ika di'amri afilu chadanami lo lucky. Some say you don't even get one set of malchus. De'ein kan lav miyuchad. You have no designated lav over here. There's no specified lav. The chol chad minayu lav shebechlolos. Each one is called a lav shebechlolos, so there is no malchus at all. And Rashi continues and notes, Aval almono grusha v'chalola zona. Those are the various women that cannot be married by a Kohen Gadol. Lo have a lav shebechlolos. That would not be considered a generalized lav. The lav kol chadakoi, because the lav is going on each one independently. Ho'olu mufurashim befeder, since they're each explained clearly. Hilkach laki alayu. That's why there is malchus in that situation. And Rashi continues, Lachi nakat lav de chasima. The reason why the Gemara is picking out the lav de chasima in terms of muzzling an animal, mishum dalek siv v'hipilu hashofet, because it's on that pasuk where it says v'hipilu hashofet, which is a reference to malchus. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Nun Tes Amud Aleph.